glimpse at the players.
This is a league that you follow so closely. I know your relationship that you have when it comes to La Liga, but do you think that they are managing the situation in the right way?
I think to me,
it's as if there is a lot of water that is flowing down the bridge.
Yeah, if you follow what happened during that particular match, you discovered it was after that they came back after the footage.
Yeah.
To see what really happened. And to me, I think the sanctions are very minimal. To me, I would have been suggesting that once there are racism act, that team is even banned for 2 years from.
Lawrence say it should be relegated.
It should be banned.
Come and see what the whole relegation committee is doing.
2 years.
To come around and learn something from our football. Eh?
Really?
Yes. Send you to the regional league after paying fine.
So I think the club should be banned, and then the stadium sealed for some time.
Yeah.
This goes an extra mile to tell supporters that at least they need to be very conscious. They need to grow up.
Yeah.
At least we are human beings, no matter where we are coming from, we are one. But the one of the worst part of it is that we perform better than them. But they don't need to be angry. They just need to pull our hands and we move together. Because when they are playing here,
even the pay package is not more very encouraging for those who are African players. Williams.
Yes, I will.
Do this aspect of racism, can we ever put an end to it?
I don't think so, because first of all, racism starts from the brain.
But do we have that in African football?
Yes, it's very much
in the Confederation.
Yes, we have that in African football, but it's not really known as racism, but more of tribalism.
Okay.
Yes.
Like when Nigeria is playing Cameroon, we see tribalistic tendencies.
Yes, tribalistic tendencies whereby maybe like in a team, let me just take for example like Cameroon, or in Cameroon in general, you will see some tribes in Cameroon want that some of their players to represent them, and we usually have the tendency of having more players from a particular zone letting out the other zone. So it is all over, it's found all over everywhere. So I think it's the mindset. The first thing is that they have to change their mindset. They have to understand that as Etienne said, that we are humans, we are one. We shouldn't take the game of football to politics and all sorts of things. We should think about football in the sense whereby it is just a sport, it's just a game to entertain one another.
Indeed, sir. That was just another point I want us to talk on. The focal point is the outing of Vincent Aboubakar. Lawrence, was it timing? Did he have the right? Did he spoke like a player or like the captain or like an observer?
Well, it's Vincent Aboubakar. We know he's never in polemics. He's never into trouble, and he's one of the major figures of that team. Let's not forget that he and the president of FECAFOOT played football together.
Yeah.
And he was one of those who stood against the president of FECAFOOT at one point and told him that one day they too shall be captain and rule that team. So when it comes from Vincent Aboubakar, you have to take it very serious. He relates the facts because he was there. He takes no party, no side. He's neither for FECAFOOT or for the player, and just said things the way they happen according to him. And I think he's free to express himself, because since the incident, nobody had the real story. Nobody could tell you exactly what went on, what happened on the pitch of play. He mentioned it. It's a case of indiscipline and maybe incomprehension between the two. Maybe if they stopped at that level, they would have talked about it later on, but they continue. They prolong. And you know, when you prolong in such exchanges, it becomes something else, and we are having the consequences today. But I fully believe, and I think I said it even on national television the day we were kicked out of the World Cup, that don't be surprised that before the AFCON, Onana will be back, and maybe he will be captain of the indomitable Lions of Cameroon at the next African Nations Cup. Yeah,
because we already saw letters coming from right to left. People are calling, some are even saying that he has to come back to the team because he needs to play for Chelsea. But after this outing of of Vincent Abubakar. A lot of people have said that Rigobert Song Bahana, the coach, is not much different from Rigobert Song Bahana, the player, who we know as a smiling discipliner. Like somebody who, as a captain, he was always the first. He always put that aspect of discipline. The disciplinary aspect he's portraying. A lot of people say that he could have beat the child by bringing towards him rather than beating the child and sending the child away. It's in Menjo.
Yeah, discipline has always been part of Rigobert Song Bahana, but I think one of the things that we need to first of all understand, April, is what really transpired. Vincent Abubakar has come out to tell us his own story.
Yeah.
What transpired. I think.
So we expect Rigobert Song Bahana
to tell their own story, because.
But why are they hiding the story? That's why they started fitting that.
That is what I don't understand, because.
There's nothing hide under the sun, Etienne.
Because right from the very first day this incident happened up to this particular moment, it is what I've always constantly said, Abel, that when you keep Cameroonians in the dark and they turn out to invent their own stories and come out, don't just
the day you bring the real story,
they will not even look at it. And that is what is happening. We all know what is happening. Like, for example, what is happening at the Olembe Stadium. Nobody is saying anything. Well, Cameroonians are developing their own story, and by the time it comes out, when you come out with your degrees or your press release, nobody will answer. And that is the same thing that is happening to our national team. Ever since that we came back from the World Cup, we have been waiting at least for the coach to tell us that this is what happened. Nobody has said anything. Stories are coming left and right, and the only thing that we say is a letter that is going to letters that are going to Inter Milan, that this one was done discipline, and this one you should come back, you need to play for Cameroon, this. Nobody is saying anything. So it's really very sad, but I think I commend the efforts of the captain, who
did he manage the communication very well.
At least when I follow his words, at least he was very conscious and he knew exactly what he said. He did said that there were a lot of exchanges of words, which definitely to him Onana was a problem. But we are still waiting to hear from what Onana will say, because in Onana's communique he said the truth will come out, if I'm not mistaken.
And the truth has started blowing out.
But definitely
blowing out, maybe. But I love what you said, that if you hide it too much for Cameroon, by the time you want to say it in the right way, nobody will believe you. But don't you think that Williams, if Onana had to come, he will look at himself, really, like the captain now for the indomitable lions of Cameroon. When I say captain, you understand the level of influence. He said that if a home minister in a country can write a letter to my club asking for my return.
Concerning that, I don't think so that he will really look himself. By the way, it will first of all depend on the coach.
Yeah.
The coach, if it's that, I don't think if it's Rigobert Song, Onana will really be that influential, because Rigobert Song has already put words on table that Andre Onana, if he doesn't change his attitude of of what Vincent Abubakar described as parler, if he doesn't change that attitude, he doesn't see Andre Onana going further. And so I think Andre Onana coming back to the team is really will be a good news, because Cameroon will know for the past days have had problems with their goalkeepers. Andre Onana is also becoming not to say the greatest in Europe, but one of the greatest in Europe, goalkeepers in Europe. And getting the information from Vincent Abubakar is really very shocking. At the same time, I think it's good, because he has set both sides of the story, that both coach and player are on the wrong.
They have their own but when I look at these stories, each time I read the story of Onana, or I'm talking about Onana, what comes to my mind is the goalkeeping compartment of the indomitable lions of Cameroon. From history, it seems as if that department always have something when it comes to polemic around the Lions Den. You take the case of Bel Joseph Antoine, is not much better. Thomas Onkono is not much better. Itanje is not much better. Jacques Songo, Kameni, you always find them in a situation of something to say, something to have query with the coach, something to Etienne Menjo.
Yes, Abel, I must say that since the incident happened in Qatar, I had told myself that I will not talk about this issue.
Really?
I will not discuss about this issue because I need to hear both sides, and then definitely we should draw our conclusions on what transpired. But it's the goalkeeping situation.
That is not forthcoming.
The goalkeeping situation.
Speculating.
Of course, they keep us in the dark. So
maybe the outing of Vincent Abubakar will push another party to come and
so
answer.
when you look at the goalkeeping situation of the Indomitable Lions, that is a very strategic position, and as football is evolving, a lot of things are evolving too, and with good things are coming the way, and I still believe, Abel, that when I'm not saying that Rigoberto is not the right person, but I want to believe that when the square peg will be put in the square peg, definitely we'll have something to write
when
about.
The square peg will put in the square hole,
yes,
something good will come out. Now I want us to move on this focal point to talk about the Classico, the women football. If Care is not taking Lawrence Kedi, we'll stop talking about Elite One Championship in Cameroon. When we look at the way the women
playing the ball,
Super League is going on in Cameroon.
Well,
little do we know if they have problems. Do they even have problems like what we see in the men category?
I think the advantage of the Women's Super League, it's because of the name sponsor.
Okay.
Involvement of the name sponsor himself into the management of the league. So they
supervise everything.
They supervise everything, because you cannot associate your brand to something that doesn't work. And even if it's something you pick from the mud or from the poto,
you should be able to wash it.
You should be able to wash it and put it right and associate your image with it, such that they said they will pay the salaries of the players, and they pay directly to the players. It doesn't pass it through
the club.
No,
we know what will happen.
That's why we
know what will happen. If you have to pass through the clubs.
That's why the ladies are a little bit at ease, and even at the level of the organization. I mean, you can sit home and 2 hours before match, you have all the match sheets of all the games into your phone. You know who is playing, who is not playing, and even they have graphic designers where they do the fixtures and they send to pressmen, and it's easy to do a write-up or an article. It's easy to have the sounds of post-game. I mean, you can sit home and follow the women championship and know the players and the way the players are even being taken care of. I mean, you see the under-20s, they were in Morocco to represent Cameroon. The under-20s are basically girls playing locally in the local championship. These same girls a few days back were in France for an international tournament that regrouped a representative from each continent. I mean, Europe had France, America, the Americas had Panama, Asia had Japan, and Africa had Cameroon. It's true that we lost to Japan. Hopefully 0-3, but ended up beating France and Panama. So it tells you that these girls are already coming up. I mean, Brenda Tabebika being one of the best goal scorers of the tournament. Catherine Bia, goalkeeper for the under-20, being the goalkeeper of the tournament. And let's not forget that Catherine Bia now, it's already challenging Ash Bau to be number one because Ash Bau has signed in Kazakhstan. I don't know what's happening to some of these our ladies. I mean, she left Cameroon hour to go and play Nigeria from Nigeria, instead of going to maybe Central Europe or coming back to Cameroon. She finds herself in Kazakhstan. I think sometimes it's the beginning of the end when you go in such destinations. But I think globally speaking, the girls are doing fine. It's true that locally our football still needs to be reinforced. I mean, technically and in terms of the speed, the girls need to do much better. But I think each time they go international, it permits them to have that experience, and the way they look at the game differently. I mean, if you take a player like Brenda Tabe, who last season was in America with Amazon FAP and the military team, and end up best goal scorers of the tournament. She comes back, she goes to Europe, North America, North Africa. I mean, she's gaining that experience while playing locally. I know she's the most expensive player of the league. I mean, 1.5 million of signature bonus, never seen in the women league.
But the issue is that it's very rare to have that amount in the first division, because we never know. Yes, in the first division, so we never know what a player has signed. So it's to tell you that women's league is evolving.
Yeah.
It's greatly evolving, and not to cut you short, Lawrence. I think women's football, when you look at their matches, it's true that they still need to ameliorate, but it makes you smile, it makes you laugh, it makes you jump from your seat because of the way these girls are playing. These games, when you look at these girls, they really have a focus, and I want to believe that the sponsor at least is doing a great job, because it is that motivation that is making them go forward. And the rate at which money has started changing hands as far as the signing of players is concerned.
Okay, I thought when you said money was changing hands, they are going the male type
No.
I
mean transfer.
Yeah.
It tells you that at least if a lady can sign 1.5, it means that subsequently she's
not the only one, because I think Tanto Melvis, champion with Awa, and who was moving over to
Farida
to Farida. I think Tanto Melvis signed 1 million. Wow. If I'm not mistaken, and she asked to be accompanied by some of these girls. All these girls were being paid, and let's not forget that if you win the women's league, I mean, you have 40 million.
40 million.
It's much money.
It's much money. Much money.
The second should be around 30 25. Or 25 million and 30.
The 18 matches were on board yesterday.
Yeah,
and it seems as if even the ladies too are battling for top goal scorers, because we have somebody like the Leki True. We have Raisa Nanga. We have Manga. You see, they are battling with even the Brenda with 11 goals to come in to score up to 12.
Yeah, I think Leki has done a great job getting the best goal scorers of the league and bringing in their team. I mean, no matter your price, they will pay.
They'll pay for
you to come and play. So at one point,
it has helped to keep a team like Awa.
Amazon Fab. Yeah, because I mean, when you have Brenda Tabe, Raisa Nanga, and the other lady, I just forgotten the name, scoring Ngamanga, scoring 13 goals each. I mean, they are practically 50% of the team and of the league. So the competition now has become inside the team. So it's left now.
So we are sure that Leke will be the champion.
We are practically sure, because of
they're 9 points ahead.
Yeah, 9 points ahead, and it's going to be difficult for Eclair Football Fiofsa. You know, Eclair Football Fiofsa had most of his players in the under 20. So when they left, each time they leave for the national team,
they lost their matches.
They lost their matches, because you cannot have a player like Tokonjoya, who is the playmaker of Eclair, and when she's taken out, it's just as if they have removed your heart or your better bar color.
I remember when Bomben was removed from Fab, and when she came back and fell sick, Fab did not even have anything to do on. We were losing matches left and right, but when she came back and organized play at the midfield, everything was moving, and that's why if you look at the match yesterday, she was woman of the
Guinness-Eco, the woman of the match, as we call it. And against Eding in the first round, she was still the woman of the match against the same team. So she's one of the key elements of Amazon Fab, and I think Amazon Fab too is coming back gradually, because we generally had the big four, what we call the big four, since the first season of the top flight. I mean, we had Leki, we didn't have Leki, we had Louvre, Mimprov. We had Awa, we had
Amazon Fab,
and Eclair. That were the top four. But now the reverse exploded and changed.
More money has come into the seems as if the Coco money now is flooding, and they are just collecting players from the different teams.
And now Leclerc has has sprung to be the.
But what vision do we have for our women football? Are they ripe enough to vibrantly represent the country in women?
I think they are doing.
Because this is the time we need to win. You know, we need to win some of these African ways when it comes to the women category.
But when you look at the women category, by the time
other countries want to develop their football like what Morocco is doing today, because Morocco football is on a dramatic progression.
Morocco is on a project, on a development project. We have no football development project in Cameroon, whether it's for the male or for the women. We deal with spontaneous generations. Our under 17 women were beaten by Tanzania, eliminated for the qualifiers of the under 17 World Cup. Our under 20 women to equally beaten out. The senior women were unable to qualify for the World Cup and ended up the AFCON at the level of the quarterfinals, whereas they've always played the semi-finals. So games. We are having a new generation of players coming up, and I think if we have a football project, we need a project to carry these girls to the limelight. And
dans un instant, sur votre radio, c'est la pub.
Up next is a commercial page.
En direct du Festival des cadeaux de Canal+, avec le décodeur à un prix exceptionnel.
Ah, si le décodeur Canal+ est là, les stars ne devraient pas tarder.
Ah oui, ça y est, j'aperçois les stars des plus grandes séries africaines qui s'avancent sur le tapis rouge.
Suivi de près par les 4 mariés en quête de leur lune de miel.
Et de tous les héros de chaîne jeunesse.
En ce moment, c'est le Festival des cadeaux chez Canal+. Le décodeur est à seulement 1000 francs à partir de la formule évasion et l'installation est offerte.
Mais si j'ai déjà un décodeur?
Alors réabonnez-vous à votre formule et profitez de 15 jours à tout Canal+. Et tentez aussi de gagner 25 billets d'avion aller-retour Douala-Dubaï et 400 abonnements d'un an à tout Canal+. Rendez-vous vite en boutique pour vivre le festival de Canal+. Offre soumise à condition.
Together we get on well with Kaji Beer. Until June 30th, 2023, win with your proudly Cameroonian beer brand. Look under your crown and win thousands of prizes, including checks of 1 million CFA francs, motorcycles, smart TVs, and thousands of free bottles. Visit your nearest outlet and together, let's win. Do not miss any information about this promotional campaign and follow us on our Facebook page, Kaji Beer. Offer reserved for persons aged 21 and above. Drink responsibly. Kaji Beer. Together, we get on well.
Attention au choléra. Voici des conseils pratiques pour éviter le choléra. Lavez vos mains à l'eau propre, avec du savon ou avec de la cendre, après usage des toilettes, avant et après les repas. Lavez correctement et à l'eau propre les fruits et légumes avant de les consommer. Mangez les aliments bien cuits et chauds. Si vous n'avez pas accès à l'eau potable, faites bien bouillir l'eau disponible. Laissez refroidir. Réoxygénez en secouant pendant 2 minutes au moins. Mettez cette eau dans un récipient propre, couvert de préférence. Vous pouvez aussi rendre l'eau potable en ajoutant 1 cuillère à café d'eau de Javel pour 20 litres à traiter. Conservé dans un récipient propre et couvert de préférence à col étroit. Attendre 30 minutes avant de consommer. En cas de choléra, se rendre dans la formation sanitaire la plus proche, tout en continuant de boire une solution d'eau potable contenant des sels de réhydratation. Au Cameroun, le traitement du choléra est gratuit.
C'est un message de Royal FM, la radio des auditeurs. Vous êtes propriétaire d'une parfumerie, d'une laverie, d'un snack bar, d'un restaurant, d'un salon de coiffure, d'un pressing et bien d'autres. Vous voulez augmenter vos ventes. Royal FM vous propose la solution, les petits prix. Confiez-nous vos communiqués, spots publicitaires, interventions en direct et nous ferons le reste. Contact 6 99 03 38 26 6 96 60 81 49 et le 6 77 48 64 61. Et c'est pas fini. Une surprise pour les mutualistes de la Masso. Ils ont la possibilité de faire passer leur communiqué à taux zéro. Avec les petits prix de Royal FM, la communication est aux affaires ce que le cœur est à l'homme.
Terre promise,
acteur du monde agricole et de l'élevage, passionné de la nature et d'environnement, cette heure vous est dédiée. L'agro-pastoral est votre activité principale, une source de revenus d'appoint ou votre passe-temps préféré? Le magazine Terre Promise vous ouvre des perspectives. Terre Promise, la terre ne ment pas. Tous les lundis, espace 15h, 15h55, chaussez vos bottes, tenez une machette avec Annie-Lisette Ambassa sur Royal FM 88.4.
Entre tes mains, je remets, Seigneur, mon esprit.
Aucun être humain n'est assez mauvais pour échapper à l'amour transformateur de Dieu.
Le chemin de la liberté. Nouvelle saison tous les dimanches, 6h, 7h55 sur votre radio.
Je chanterai gloire à l'éternel.
Le chemin de la liberté, l'amour et la justice de Dieu, porté à votre oreille par le pasteur Richard Mathias Missan et l'évangéliste Marius Nia. Retrouvez-nous le dimanche 6h, 7h55 sur la radio des auditeurs Royal FM 88.4.
Viens te dire, Seigneur, que tu es mon bonheur.
The league knows the problems we are facing, but to discuss the problem with the league, we have to discuss it in a general assembly. Unfortunately, no general assembly is called. We are even talking about which championship.
Les ressentiments provoqués par ces lointains souvenirs.
We should integrate. That spirit of integration is what has been lacking in the national team. The traditional coach should always give part to other people. I believe the national team should be like when you participate 2-3 competitions, you should quit.
Les rayons de l'aurore.
The time has come for us to put most of those divisions we had behind. We have to look towards one direction, and that is football. We have to speak one language, and that is football.
Let's keep politics out of football. Politics has nothing to do with football. Those who comes with the intentions of doing politics, for me, then they are not coming with intentions to help the young ones develop their talents. Because in football, I don't care about CPDM or SDF or whatever party we belong to. But football has only one party which is running around the pitch. That is the only one way.
We are going to accompany the league for a new form of organization and to try to reform this institution that we have on our charge.
It's enormous passionate crowds with memories from elsewhere. The beams of the dawn of.
And we'll talk about the playoff that took place in Douala, the Elite One Championship. Ivan, Cotton Sport of Garoua, champion.
Yeah, again.
For the 18th time, again.
That's yes, Cotton Sport actually, they are, as Fuda Herman precise in my report, he is, how can I say it? They are the best team. That's what he said. I'm using Fuda Herman's words. So,
they're the best team in Cameroon.
Yes, the
worst team in the African continent.
No, wait, okay. We are still going progressively. Mm-hmm. So, what was I saying? Cotton Sport is the best team in Cameroon. Actually, they are the richest too. And talking about the international level, Cotton Sport really disgraced us at a point where they could not even like win a single match. We are instead contented with a draw, but we hope that they will change the face this time around, because we know the various problems that they encountered during the beginning of the league, with the changing of the coaches, players, and all other things.
It's a Menjo. Can Cameroonians still count on Cotton Sport of Garoua?
Well, if Cotton Sport can still, try to develop and structure themselves the way they had done in the past, I want to believe. But when I listen to the coach, I think it's the coach over the national station, where he said, they develop players and sell them. If they sell a player with 10 $10,000, which is roughly $6 million. It would definitely help the player that is going and equally help to bring up those who are coming. So it tells you that Cotonsport at one moment ever is like already a nursery where you know,
we can call it the Arsenal of Cameroon.
But I think if they can restructure themselves, if you look at the playoffs, if they can put themselves together, they can still make it. It's true that they really confess that the team that you know went to the continental competition wasn't that team that merited, and that is what happened. The team officials confess that. So definitely, I think if they can work towards, you know, revamping and structuring their team, will go a long way to. We can still count on them. But as of now, I think the playoff really revealed to us that we have a lot of talent. And definitely, those talents can be, if we groom them up, things can work well for us as well as the crowd that we saw in the field. So definitely, all of those things, if we use the resources around us and make things happen, we can still make it up.
Canon Sportif of Yaoundé Bamboutus of Mbouda Gazelle FA of Garoua paved the way for Cotonsport of Garoua to emerge champion for the 18th time.
I think Cotonsport did his thing. Cotonsport played
did his mathematics.
He did his mathematics.
After losing the African Champions League, they concentrated.
Well, the African Champions League is another level. I mean, Cotonsport is the barometer on which you can really evaluate where Cameroonian football is situated. On the continent, and I think I will not throw stones at them for that, because Cotonsport belongs to the employers of Sodecoton, not to Sodecoton. So it's the employers that will put in their money for the club to be run. So at one point they need money for the academy, they need money to play players, they need money to travel on continental on the African continent for their various games. So they really just have to sell those players, because the capital income is not yet, it's not really great. But I think they really strategize. And when you look at the bench, the technical bench of Cotonsport, even if the coach was changed and Bisek came in, but the technical staff, I mean, there are people in the background, Francois Ngumu, for example, Agbo, those are people who are working in the background, who are doing a great work in terms of technicality, in terms of analyzing opponents, in terms of preparing the players. So I mean, it's a whole system. It's a system of organization, management, and if the other clubs in Cameroon don't upgrade themselves to that level of management, no club would ever be able to beat Cotonsport. Any other team that wins the championship will be, it will just be an accident of history. It will not be that you really prepared for it, because season after season, Cotonsport always proves that they are the best. If you permit, I would just like to enter
go ahead.
into this season to say that we have come.
Because that was my last question. If we want to evaluate the
season, I always look at the evaluation in terms of organization and in terms especially of goal scoring. Because in terms of organization, I think we are doing better, especially when it comes to the playoffs. But the federation should do much more to help the teams bring fans back into the stadium. It's not spontaneous that you sit back at home and do fixtures and you expect that people come to the stadium. They should really work on that. I think this season we have dropped as compared to last season in terms of goal scoring, because we had a total of 484 goals scored in 227 games, whereas last season we had 694 goals. It tells you, when you even look at the best goal scorer, Emmanuel Mahop, being best goal scorer with 14 goals, whereas last season we had Mani from Column and Enoch Embe from Fortuna, who each scored 20 goals. I mean, it brings us to the 2022 season. I mean, if we go back to 2021, Junior Kimaju of Bambutos was the best goal scorer with 13 goals, and maybe if we go as far as 2020, we'll get to Lambert Game Arena. But you say in terms of goal scoring, I mean, best goal scorer scoring just 14 goals in the season for me. It's really quite low. And we, in terms of goal scoring, last season 44%. This season 44% of the goals were scored in the first half, and 56% of goals were scored in the second half, proving that this season most goals were scored in the second half of the game. So those are some statistics I would have.
But we saw a championship that at one point was being marked with a lot of controversy in the elite one, with especially the quality of referees. We have come to the end. If you are asked to evaluate the referees of this season, Etienne Menjo, Lawrence Kede, what point or what percentage will you give to the way they handle the match? Maybe perhaps it's their action that caused the reduction in the number of goals that we recorded this season.
Well, maybe or maybe not, but you would say that refereeing this season, I mean, it was really below average. It's been long. We haven't seen such poor quality of refereeing. I remember a match, especially in the Elite 2, where a player was on the goalpost, hung on the goalpost, and it was an offside was blown in favor of the home team that conceded the goal. So, I mean, some funny things. I equally remember I was in Bamenda for the game Victoria United versus Foncha Street. I mean, what I saw there, you would understand at one point that the referee has no choice. Sometimes he has to protect his life. Yeah. He has to think about his children. He has to go home. From the population. And sometimes in such games, when you are attributing referees to games, look at the referees. You don't take a young guy of 22, 23 years to go and conduct a game in Bamenda where the heat is really there. And even in the last games where there is much tensions, I mean, the referee has to put in some diplomacy. He has to put in some pedagogy in refereeing a game. So I think refereeing was below average this season.
Menjo, we are talking about the quality of referees. Below average, what could be done next season?
Below average. Finally, I want to equally come in to say that if you look at the beginning of this championship, I think referees had gone on stage, came back, and then while they thinking the championship would start, the champion did not start, and they had to stay again. And you know, with that delay, maybe some of them just while they had renewed themselves during the stage or during the in-service training, or made them to go. But I want to tell you that if you look critically and deep critically into the issue of referees, one may be tempted to say that or to ask questions whether they are being paid for real, because because
they had some financial difficulties.
And definitely, how do you sort themselves out? We are human beings, and some of the things that might happen. It might happen. Yes, it might happen. So, Abel, sometimes we really need to look at things face to face and ask ourselves, really, if those referees that we are doing, because actually there are some matches that when you watch, like Lawrence Kelly is saying, and see the reaction of the coach, definitely you as a spotter or you as an observer, you definitely know that something is wrong. Something is wrong. Yes, and when you deep down to know what is happening, you discover that maybe something transpired, which is definitely bringing our football down to the drain. You equally understand that a series of rows that happened in Olembe, happened in Betua. And some of the things that are happening, like the match in Bamenda, those are some of the things that sometimes it really brings down our image. It's true that there will be tension, but at least we really need to make things and to put things right for it to
and maybe also not to cut you true ambitions of rising, whereas two only could go. So in every game, it was really much tension, and
and that produced that
the fireworks.
And one thing I love about this season was that there was a lot of competitiveness when it comes. It was just a difference of 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, and to know that if you lose a match today, you definitely have to go back. So seriously, and so that's the it's true that goals were not coming like the other years.
But we saw a lot of decisions also coming from the offices rather than the field.
That is Cameroon. that is Cameroon. It's very true about it. There's no lie about it.
For example, we have the match between Young Sport Academic of Bamenda and we're supposed to play Jiko FC. But later on, things turn out that they're going to play the Edin Sport.
And maybe Edin was not really prepared again for that game.
Psychologically, maybe he has already sent the players on holidays. We saw some of those things. And you see Young Sport Academy had to go and a lot of decisions, a lot of coming from
like the Tonekara club that
for issues when it comes to maintain our football. Is it the football project? I don't even want to talk about that, Lawrence, because even the youth football, the veteran football, we haven't seen it. What can we do? We cannot stop. We have to still talk about it. What can we do to ameliorate the Elite One Championship?
Yeah, I think this season we have had a number of significant encouragement as far as the spectators. So it's really something that is really difficult to come around, and when equally you discover that there were some matches that fans were really anticipating to go and watch, but at the end of the day they discovered that the playing style really dropped and they went back very discouraged, and the next coming game they will not come again. I think the management in place need to work extremely hard in order to bring back those, like for example,
organizations. Once the clubs are better organized, they'll have all the categories and players will be able to go from the under 15, under 17 and play better football when it comes to the top flight, because sometimes at Elite One you have teams who are unable to make 3 passes.
Unable to make 3 passes.
And definitely it's also an opportunity for clubs to start thinking of how to acquire their own fields, because you discover that some of them are even renting, and then they come and they are fighting with quarter boys in order to train.